Three, two, one, action. Welcome back to episode 51 of As Seen on Screen. I'm Nicole.
I'm Gracie, and we're your source for all things entertainment news, reviews, interviews, and more.
You can find us wherever you get your podcasts on Spotify and YouTube. Well, welcome back to another week here on the show. Thank you so much for joining us to hear the latest in entertainment news. Well, before we get into this week's news, I have an interview that I would love to share with all of you. I had a chance to sit down with a local filmmaker here in Australia, Madeleine Wighton, and we discussed her debut short film, Bernice, which has been playing in film festivals not only across Australia, but internationally as well over the past year. So, Bernice is a tenacious vigilante in a pink balaclava, stops at nothing to burglarize homes and sprinkle goofy love wherever she tiptoes, until she's beaten at her own game. Bernice has played across film festivals in Australia, including Cinefest Oz, Inner West Film Festival, Sydney Women's International Film Festival, Sydney Web Fest, and more. And not only that, it is also played at PAC Hollywood Comedy Film Festival in Los Angeles, California, International Love and Hope Film Festival in Barcelona, Spain, Monza Film Fest in Monza, Italy, and more. So Madeline and I had a great chat all about the making of Bernice, being a filmmaker here in Australia, and the realities of making films in Australia. Not only that, Madeline is also the founder of Hopeful Goose Creative, which is a coaching company as well as a production company. It produced Bernice, and she also offers a lot of different classes for actors here in Australia. So let's get right to our conversation. Well, I want to start off by saying I loved Bernice. I so admire your mission to make these fun and enjoyable stories for audiences to laugh with, to relate with emotionally. I think it's just beautiful what you're doing. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you.
And I wanted to ask you, so I was doing a bit of research, and I know going into the filmmaking process, you used the Australian Cultural Fund, and your goal is to raise $10,000, and you ended up raising just under $14,000. So I wanted to ask you what that process looks like when you went into that.
Yeah, so crowdfunding is like a big, massive, crazy thing, especially if you're trying to raise that much money for a bit of art. I guess I felt a bit like icky going into it, being like, oh, like there's so much crap going on in the world right now. Like, why would people want to donate to this little silly film when they could be donating to like other causes, I guess. But but I kept trying to relate it back to like the purpose of the film and the fact that it wasn't actually just a silly film. It was there was lots of meaning behind it and a deep personal connection behind it. And then people were so generous, like overwhelmingly generous. And yeah, we aimed for 10, and yeah, we definitely went way over 10K with people's thanks to people's generosity. But yeah, it's a vulnerable thing putting yourself out there, asking people for money. But I really just kept focusing on the fact that it was for this bigger purpose, not just for me. Like I didn't actually get any of the money personally. It was all for the other cast and crew and for the equipment and insurance and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was a big process.
I think that's an awesome resource for any kind of creative artist to have. I almost started going down a rabbit hole yesterday, reading all the different projects that were on there, and I thought that was such
Yes.
a great way. So that's awesome. I'm so glad that that ended up working out so well for you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
One thing from the film that I loved is just the set design, and I want to specifically ask you about the sticky notes because I thought that was so powerful.
Yes.
Obviously, a huge aspect of Bernice's mission in the film as well. So, is that something you do in your own personal life, or I'd love to know the inspiration behind the use of the sticky notes?
Yes. Well, I do have an occasional sticky note, or like my partner leaves an occasional sticky note for me, which is beautiful. But the inspiration behind it was I was doing a writing workshop where we were just given so many prompts again and again, and we had like a minute or 2 minutes to just scribble something in response to whatever the prompt was. So I was given this prompt, if you were a criminal, what would you do? And I was like personally offended by that because I would not be a criminal. Um, so I was like, okay, well, if I was, I would probably break into people's homes, tiptoe around, maybe tidy it up a little bit, and then leave sticky notes of encouragement. So that's where the inspiration came from. And then, yeah, I guess after writing the film, because I kind of nutted it out pretty quickly, the first draft at least, I just like, after that workshop, I was like, let me write this into a film. I was never expecting to write it into a film, but it just happened thanks to being in that creative flow, I guess. But yes, afterwards, I realized that lots of the sticky notes, lots of the words of encouragement and stuff were things I wish I could still say to my friend who had passed away. Like all this love I still wanted to give him, and yeah, all this all this all these things I wanted to let him know in case it had changed the course of his life or something. But of course, I can't change that. But I was like, I'm going to put it into this film instead. And yeah, so it's full of all that love I have for him still through this very goofy kind of playful lens, I guess. Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. I wrote down two of my favorite sticky notes. The one was everything will
Yes.
be okay, and the other one is the one that we see come back a bit after, which was the how we use your gifts to love others today. And I thought that was just so sweet,
Yeah.
and I loved looking through all of them as I was watching the film. So I thought that was so well done and so beautiful, of course, through your personal
Thank
meaning with
you.
that too.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think they're probably my favorite too. Those two.
I wanted to chat also about building your community of wonderful actors that were in this project. You had Caitlin, Dominic, Jesse, David, Ava, Ty. So I wanted to know how you built that community and how you got all these wonderful people into this project.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, many of those women you mentioned at the start were my friends, and I wanted to just cast my friends. So they were very kind to jump on board and work with me, and that was really fun. And then David, I'd worked with him before on something in a more dramatic sense, but he's actually like a comedian. So I was like, I want to see you do comedy. And he cracks me up every single time I watch the film. And I've watched it like a million times. I like piss myself just watching him. He was great. He had so much improvisation up his sleeve. He's just so good. Such a good team player. I'm about to work with him on another film because I love him so much. And then Ava and Ty are a bit more well-known actors here in Australia. Ava's like the star of Bump, if you've watched that on Stan. And I just reached out to her agent, and they were so keen to have her on board, and her mum was so kind, and they were just so patient and beautiful, and she's so sweet, and it was really great fun working with her and getting to direct her too. And then Ty is what is working constantly here in Australia, home and away, calling from accounts, all these other things. But he was mates with our cinematographer and my co-director, Tony Gardiner. And so that was kind of the way to get Ty. But he was also just so generous and so kind to jump on board and wear a purple balaclava, which was so nice.
They're also wonderful. That's awesome. I love that you
Yeah.
can be able to bring people that are close to you in your life onto the project,
Mm.
make it all more special.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Bernice has played across film festivals, not only across Australia, but across the world, which is so amazing. Congratulations on all of those experiences that you're having with the film over
Thank
just
you.
a little over a year ago. It started, right? In middle
Mm,
April
mm.
last year, I believe. Yeah. So I wanted to ask how has screening the film across all these festivals helped you build that bigger community for Bernice? What kind of community has it built across being able to show it to so many audiences?
Yeah, it's been so encouraging, yeah, seeing it screen across continents, even yeah, different cultures, different faiths even. Um, like there's the section in it where like Bernice pretends she's the angel with a message from God kind of thing. But it was even screened last week at a Buddhist film festival because the values as well like fully align there. But yeah, it's been, I think because the film is just so wholesome and like lots of people have described it as like a big warm hug, I think that's been like beautiful in the sense that it's brought people together, no matter where they are or who they are, because everyone just needs a big, beautiful hug. The world is like so broken and dark, and I think it's been really special just being able to make a little piece of light, even like a 12-minute piece of light that people could just be like, oh, everything will be okay, actually. And that's a nice little bit of encouragement. But yeah, I've received such beautiful, lovely feedback from people all over the world, and people being able to relate to the way I've lost my friend, if I've had the opportunity to speak about him, speak about the film as well. So that's been really encouraging. Yeah.
It's amazing. Those opportunities must be so incredible to see. And I'm
Mm.
wondering for you, for being able to do all these experiences and traveling, does it ever give you inspiration for future projects you'd like to work on, future ideas you'd love to incorporate? Has that given you kind of any new um, ideas being able to work outside of Australia as well?
Yeah, yeah. I guess the great thing about film festivals is that you see so many films in like one sitting, and I really gravitate towards like the ones with lots of female leads, or the ones that are a little bit goofy and witty, and the ones that I just love films that are full of hope, but are still comedic in a
Yeah,
way. I feel like comedy is hard to do, and lots of film festivals are full of much more dramatic kind of films, which are great as well. But I definitely am drawn towards the comedy ones, definitely. But yeah, just exploring the world a little bit on these travels that the film has taken me on has definitely been very, very inspiring. Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, film festivals, I believe there's nothing like a film festival. It's so fun. I mean,
Mm,
I've always loved going to the movie theater growing up and everything.
yes.
But film festivals are so great because I think you have a room full of movie lovers and you're all there for like that one common reason. And I think it makes it even more special to be able to
Yeah.
watch all those films and share them with the people who love them and created them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Keep going to cinema, everyone.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
yes, it's the best. It's the best.
I wanted to chat a bit about Hopeful Goose Creative because I think what you're doing is so, so special. Not only is it a production company, I believe, but also you offer coaching sessions through there. And I was reading the website and you talk about breaking down those barriers with kind of imposter syndrome. And I was also looking at Instagram and seeing you post videos about teaching about how to book a TVC and all those aspects like that. So I'd love to know your kind of journey to creating that and what inspired you to start Hopeful Goose Creative because I think what you're doing is so amazing for anyone in that industry.
Thank you. Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, I wanted to create like a little production company to produce Bernice under and to produce future films under. And I already had a coaching business at the time, but I mostly just taught singing actually. But when I like created this production company, I rebranded the coaching to be under that same umbrella of Hopeful Goose. And Hopeful Goose itself just speaks to what I'm all about. Like I'm all about finding hope and trusting that everything will be okay, despite it all. Especially in this industry that's like quite crazy and very hard and requires lots of patience and lots of hard work from you. I love that side of things, but I'm also a goose, like a silly goose. I love to find joy and to just have fun. And I guess being an actor itself requires lots of curiosity and childlike wonder and having that playful mindset. So that's where the name came from. But yes, so I've since expanded the coaching business as well to cover a lot more things. So yeah, PVCs is something I'm like I've cracked the code on. And I've created like a formula about that no one else is really teaching, and I've yeah, just kind of started launching that, but students are already doing so well. One just booked a TVC, people are getting callbacks, and like just like feeling much more in control. I feel like in this industry we can feel so out of control. You have no control, like it's just up to the big producers and casting directors to like give you work, but that's not true. Yes, they do have lots of control, but I guess lots of my coaching is all to do with taking what is in your control and using it to your advantage. And yeah, whether that's learning how to audition for TVCs specifically and cleverly, or having a mindset like coaching session where we talk about what's actually getting in the way. Is it imposter syndrome? Like, are you yourself getting in the way? Because often you think, oh, it's just because no one's giving me a job, but maybe there's some doubt there, or maybe you're procrastinating, and that's just fear disguising itself as procrastination. Or yeah, like I still teach singing, which I love. I love just coaching actors as well with their self-tapes. And I've like got some packages too, which are all about like finding a new agent, like redoing all your materials, and just really like knuckling down on who you are as an actor and how you can stand out amongst the millions of beautiful, talented actors that are out there too. But yeah, I'm just so passionate about working with creatives. And look, I'm yapping about it now. I could go on, but I feel like Australia, especially because it's such a small industry, it's really important to be able to be a multi-hyphenate, to like sing, to dance, to act, to make your own films. Like I have a package about how to produce your first film. If you're an actor trying to make your own magic. But yeah, I think it's so important to be able to do lots of different things. And I do lots of different things. And I guess in the past, I've experienced imposter syndrome with that being like, oh, I'm just a jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. But I actually think I'm pretty good at lots of these things, and I really love to help other multi-hyphenate passionate creatives, yeah, work towards those dreams and see them become a reality too because of what they're doing, not because anyone else has said yes to them or whatever. But yeah, I'll shut up now.
No, my
That's
goodness, not at all. No. I agree. I think you're wonderful at plentiful of things. So I think that's amazing.
thank you,
You
thank you.
sharing that with everyone. But I did want to ask to end it off, looking back now at, I know you've had acting roles, obviously doing Bernice as well. What have been resources that have been available to you that have been helpful in helping you create this journey and learning all these things that have as an Australian making films in this country?
I worked with my own coach when I was making Bernice because Bernice was my first film. I'd never done that before. I was like, I really want to do this, but I have no idea how. And there was a coach who was specifically helping actors make films for their first time. Her name's Izzy Stevens. She's indie spunk. She has a different kind of coaching situation now, but that was so helpful. And we did lots of group coaching calls and stuff, and having that community there was really important. And I guess what else has been helpful is just like asking for help a lot. And yeah, instead of leaning into oh, I've never done this before, I shouldn't do this, I don't know what I'm doing, being, oh, I'm a beginner and that's okay, and I'm here to learn. Like that's why I made Bernice mostly, was to see myself on screen in a lead role and to learn how to direct, how to produce, how to do all that. So just asking all the dumb questions, and not being scared to look like a fool, even though it's not a thing. People were so generous in like helping me along the way. Like my co-director, cinematographer was super helpful. And yeah, so many people were like, oh, this is how you make a DCP, and like all the technical stuff that I have no idea about. I'm like, okay, thank you. I think that makes sense. But yeah, just like leaning on people is allowed.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's an awesome message. I think asking for help is sometimes the biggest hurdle and a lot of things that
Yeah.
people take on. So I think that's an awesome
Yeah.
lesson to learn, especially early on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you helping me out with this, and I'm so excited to share it with our audience on the podcast. Thank you, Madeline. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I just want to give another huge thank you to Madeline for sharing her time with me and sharing all those helpful insights about filmmaking in Australia and the making of Bernice, as well as her production company, Full Goose Creative. And I also want to shout out the Sydney Women's International Film Festival, who I've been working with on a piece I've been doing for one of my classes actually, but they initially got me in contact with Madeline. So a thank you to both of them. We have quite the list to go over today, so let's jump right into it, starting with our latest casting news in the new film, the upcoming film, Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping. Gracie, how excited are you for these few casting announcements we got this week?
I am thoroughly excited about the new Hunger Games movie. I finished the book and I have a lot of opinions about it, so I'm just excited to see how they bring certain parts to the screen. I know Nicole hasn't finished it yet, so it'll be interesting once she has to see the reactions that both of us have. That being said, I am obsessed with the casting that they've done thus far. There's obviously still a lot more characters to come from this universe, and I'm super excited for those as well. But besides the main ones that we got a while back, um, we've had a few additions, and you know what? I was a bit iffy on some of them, but now I see the vision. Not no hate to any of these actors. It's just like when you're reading, you see a certain person in your head, and then it takes a minute to adjust when they actually put like a physical face to the person.
Mhm.
So that is my hear me out. But the biggest one, I believe, actually, they're all pretty big. The the whole internet is freaking out all over these, so I can't even say like the biggest one. But the newest one is Mr. Ralph Fiennes. He is going to be playing President Snow. So, we had young President Snow, we have old President Snow, and now we have middle-aged President Snow. So I'm so glad that Ralph Fiennes is continuing his tradition of playing iconic villains from books.
Okay, but did you see Rachel Zegler's comments on the Instagram account when she was like, "No way, my ex is Voldemort" or something like that?
You know what? She's so quick with it. I love her.
She is amazing.
But yeah, obviously we got Voldemort playing President Snow. Um, that's a crazy IMDb to have. He's obviously done other amazing things, but like these are the pinpoints of his career. Another one I didn't see coming, but I kind of love is Maya Hawke as Wiress. This makes sense to me. Moving on to one that surprised people who haven't read the books yet. Plot twist if you don't know, but Mags does make a comeback to, well, comeback, she was younger, but come early. Mags is back on people's screens, obviously not the same, but younger Mags is going to be played by Lily Taylor. And once again, casting is perfect. I see the resemblance. I see the vision.
I like it. My girl Mags deserves a better backstory. Deserves better than what she got in Catching
Real.
Fire. So I'm excited. Maybe I shouldn't be excited. I haven't read the book. I don't know what happens to her yet. But I know at least she
Dude.
doesn't die yet. So
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say you don't know that. You haven't read the book, but then I'm like, no, she did make it to Catching Fire. Yeah, no, it was a shock when I was reading to see Max pop up on my page, and I was like, stop it. This is why in Catching Fire, Haymitch is like, she's such a sweet old lady.
listen, the amount of times I'm reading this book and I'm like, I'm not even that far into it, and the amount of characters that keep popping up, but then I'm like, wait a second.
I know. Like, there's no way she hasn't been sitting on this. Like, just the way she integrates all of these, like, old characters into this so seamlessly
Right?
is crazy.
Oh,
Like, this is Taylor Swift type Easter eggs.
like I'm just like I would love to ask Suzanne Collins if she had this planned out before, like ever at a point when she was writing the original trilogy, if this was
I
always
want to say
planned.
she didn't,
I don't think
but
so either. And then it's like, so I guess she just backwards wrote everything, which makes sense. But then I'm like, oh,
do you think she had to reread the Hunger Games
I mean,
to figure out which characters she was gonna focus on?
maybe, but also she created them, so I would assume she knows them better than anyone else, to be honest.
True, but you're also like, okay, which book did they come in and how do I get them into this without seeming like far-fetched? We also have Calvin Harrison Jr. playing Beatty, who obviously is good friends with Wiress, so I'm excited to see that dynamic from them because as we know, they kind of work together in Catching Fire, so it's a nice little like foreshadow. And then we have Ben Wang as Wyatt Callow, which is a newish character. Obviously, not new in the actual world of the Hunger Games, but in our world, he is new.
In our knowledge of the world.
He is very new. There's still one that they haven't announced that I'm like, I lost my mind over reading. So I'm like, these people are gonna lose their mind when this, if it's who I think it is, it's gonna be a good casting. But yeah, long story short, there's been a lot of lovely casting announcements. There's probably gonna be more by the time we put this out, knowing the way the Hunger Games franchise has just been dropping them.
Popping in here real quick during editing, Gracie was correct, and we got a few more casting updates later this week, which include Molly McCann as Luella McCoy, Iona Bell is Lulu, and then two of the biggest casting announcements from the week. Elle Fanning will be portraying Effie Trinket, and Kieran Culkin will be Caesar Flickerman.
Well, like Gracie said, I'm so excited to A, finish the book, and B, see who they continue casting for this film. I just cannot wait until next year we start getting like teasers for it. We can see what this universe looks like. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so ready. But
If I do not get to go to the premiere of this film,
we will be,
it
that's
we
manifesting.
because I remember I was literally up watching the live stream of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes premiere because someone on the internet gaslit us all into thinking that the core three were going to show up. And they did not. And I cried about it for the entire night. But besides the point,
They're like, we've moved on with our lives, guys. You should too.
I'm like, no.
Well, moving on from Hunger Games and into news about another different reboot sequel situation going on here. As we all know, the Buffy reboot is in the works and they have officially cast the lead alongside Sarah Michelle Gellar. We will see Ryan Kier Armstrong alongside Miss Buffy herself. You might have already seen Ryan in Star Wars Skeleton Crew and Firestarter in the past, but yes, she is set to star alongside Miss Buffy herself, and Sarah Michelle Gellar posted the cutest little video when they announced her casting, and in the caption she wrote, "From the moment I saw Ryan's audition, I knew there was only one girl that I wanted by my side. To have that kind of emotional intelligence and talent at such a young age is truly a gift. The bonus is that her smile lights up even the darkest rooms. Welcome to New Sunnydale." So I thought that was really sweet of her, and I'm so excited to see Ryan's role in this reboot. I'm just excited to see this reboot in general and what we have going on with Buffy now. So that is in production. So hopefully we'll have some more news as to when that is coming out sometime close in the future.
Another reboot spin-off series. We're really going hard with those today. Creed has a spin-off series in the works with Prime Video called Delphi. This, of course, follows the gym in the films and will follow the story of young boxers training there. So not a lot is known about this yet, other than what we've just said for you. But I am excited to see this because obviously Creed has become such a beloved franchise and story. So I think it'll be interesting to get this like dive into the past of it.
I agree. I think it's always so funny how many different Creed and like Rocky universe pieces we have out there, but I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with this spin-off series. I think a lot of this was up in the air for a while because we knew that Prime
Mhm.
Video had acquired the rights to Creed, so it's interesting to see what they're choosing to do with it now that they have it. Well, moving into something that is not a sequel, but instead a book adaptation, we officially got the first trailer and teaser photos from Netflix's upcoming film My Oxford Year, which stars Sophia Carson and Corey Milcreast. This is set to premiere on August 1st on the streaming platform. And if you haven't yet heard what this is about, Sophia Carson portrays Anna, an ambitious American student who travels to Oxford to fulfill her dreams, but encounters a charming local who changes both of their lives, who, of course, is Corey Millstreet, but plot twist, he is actually her TA, her teacher's assistant. So Sophia Carson's character is a grad student in this film, so I've seen a lot of things on TikTok being like, oh no, we have another student teacher film going on here, but she is a grad student, so she's an adult, she's good. They're both adults. They both they're both making their own decisions, guys. Don't worry. This isn't Arya and Pretty Little Liars. So, I'm very excited to see what this is about. Apparently, I was just talking to Gracie about this before we started filming. I haven't read the book, but since I've seen a lot of TikToks on it over the past week, um, it is not a romantic comedy like we may think from these first photos. It is instead apparently a sad story of some sort. So
I need to ask, did you think it was a romantic comedy from those photos?
some of it, just because I only knew it was like this romance story between her and her TA. I didn't really do much looking into it.
I have also never read this book, but when I love that we interpreted it in different ways because when I looked at these photos, I was like, oh, they're sad.
Listen, listen.
That looks
I
like the start of a montage that's gonna be absolutely heart-wrenching.
This is true. I leaned more. I definitely was like romance. I don't think I put as much thought into it to say yes, romantic comedy, but I
What do
also
we even
interpret
call a romance that's depressing? I can't even think of like a mashup of words for that, but yeah, not happy.
sadments.
Sad man's. Okay,
We're coining that.
I don't think we have to worry about it.
Well, I know you're excited for this next piece of news. So what else do we have going on over at Prime Video?
Listen, this is a show that I have watched that Nicole hasn't, so I take that a win in itself because usually it's the other way around. Um, but Fallout season 2 is going to premiere on Prime Video in December, which is super exciting because it's such an amazing show. But there's more good news for fans at Prime's upfront in New York City last week. It was announced that season 3 has already been greenlit. So even if you're excited for season 2, you have time to watch season 1, then season 2, and then hopefully season 3 will be out.
I think that's so funny. I feel like over the last few weeks, we've had so many series that we don't even have a season 2 yet for that we're getting season 3 or like something like that, like My Life with the Walter Boys. And there's some other shows I can't think off the top of my head right now, but I feel like that keeps happening quite often.
You know what? If it's a good show, why not? Why make us wait the extra 4 years?
This is true. That is the good point about it. But like also, then sometimes I'm like, okay, so we know this story is going to either end like even if it ends on like a cliffhanger or something, you're like, well, you know more is coming. You know what I mean? Like you know when you know there's some more of it coming, so you know what not to expect
Yeah.
in terms of like sometimes how shows can close or like at least you know
Mhm.
too it's not going to end forever on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like this is fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping that it's not just like season 3 will be the last season because I'm obsessed with this show and I really want it to keep going. Not if it's not good quality, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't want it to like drag on.
Yeah.
Second, I thought of the other show that you were probably thinking about that got renewed for season 5 and 6 is Bridgerton.
Yes. Yes. That is it. There we go. Well, going back a second to book to screen adaptations, New Line Cinema announced they are adapting Alex Astor's rom-com novel. This one's rom-com, guys. Summer in the City into a film. So, not much is known about that. Alex put out a statement herself on her Instagram saying how excited she is that her novel is coming to the big screen. She is signed on as an executive producer, so that is awesome. And we will hopefully get more news about that into the future.
We love when authors have a say in their book.
Exactly.
Also, speaking about authors, Reese Witherspoon and Harlan Coben have co-wrote a new thriller novel, Gone Before Goodbye. The book will be releasing later this year in October. Not a lot is known about it, but you know, we're always here for Reese Witherspoon, and we're always here for a good thriller novel.
The only information we do have, people obtained an official synopsis, which reads Gone Before Goodbye is the unforgettable story of an indomitable woman trapped in a conspiracy she helped create but can't understand. Her harrowing search for the truth could expose a plot woven throughout the exclusive world of the global ultra elite, but at an unfathomable cost to herself. You know what? I think it's so clear that Reese Witherspoon's a book girly because we know, obviously, with her production company, Hello Sunshine, they
The
always,
book club.
yes, they always produce books that usually her book club uses as one of their like monthly reads. So I'm actually very excited to see like, I mean, obviously Harlan Coben is a very established thriller novelist, so I'm excited to see what this duo looks like, what they teamed up to write. It sounds interesting from the synopsis, so I'm very curious.
Yeah, I think she always kills it with adaptations. So I have a hunch that there's going to be an adaptation of this.
I think
Um,
good hunch.
but only time will tell, I guess.
And our last piece of news for the week is one that I think was maybe unexpected because it's only been 2 years since we've been saying the opposite. But we have Max, of course, HBO's streaming series is just referred to as Max, is now returning to its original name, HBO Max, this summer, and the internet had a lot to say.
Listen, I don't know who their marketing team is, but I think we need to sit down and have a talk because over the past few years, it has changed at least 5 or 6 times. And a rebrand is one thing, but rebranding every few years is absolutely insane. The only saving grace they have for this is the fact that they're making posts making fun of it. So
Like
they realize how ridiculous it is.
John Cena's video has got to be my favorite, where he holds up all of the past names and he's just like, yeah, 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 and great.
Like, if they weren't taking this as a joke, it probably would have gone a lot worse.
Yeah.
But people are just confused. Like, that's a lot of money to put into rebranding. Like, just pick one. Just pick one.
Well, moving into our next segment of the show, our watches of the week. So, Gracie, what have you been watching this week?
You know what? You and I are kind of similar, just a few years apart.
Perfect.
I watched Mission Impossible 1.
Yay.
So I finally got on Nicole's list. I felt the need I need to start watching all of them. It was definitely good for the time, don't get me wrong. But like watching it now in 2025, it's very predictable, very like funny. Kind of feels like a comedy in a way. But
Okay, whoa.
you can't even lie, Nicole. I was texting you within the first few minutes, being like, oh, there goes the whole plot. That being said, the action was great. There was a lot of CGI though, which makes me giggle because I know Tom Cruise is so against CGI. So in that sense, it was great to see how he's grown from like a lot of not fake stunts, but like green screen to now doing all of these extensive stunts. That being said, the movie was really good. I loved the plot, even if it was predictable for me. The music made me giggle because, like, you know, when you hear a song so much that when you actually hear it where it's meant to be, it seems kind of weird. So, yeah, all in all, great film. Can't wait to watch the second one and then keep going until the new one.
Only have six left until you get to the new one, so great.
Almost there. Nicole, speaking of Mission Impossible, what was your watch of the week?
Yes, well, a huge thank you to our friends at Paramount Pictures and Paramount Pictures Australia because I had the chance to see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning on opening day in theaters here in Australia. It opened up on the 17th on a Saturday. First time I've ever seen a movie open on a Saturday, which was crazy. So thank you to them for giving me the chance to see the film. I was so excited. As you all know, I've talked about how much I love the Mission Impossible franchise many, many times here on the podcast. So I'm excited to share everything I loved about this film. I ended up giving it a 4 to 5 stars. So let's start off with everything I loved about this film because there's so much to go over. The first thing I have to start off with, of course, is talking about the stunts in this film and Tom Cruise's role because his commitment to stunt work and action and bringing these to life on the big screen at his own cost, basically doing these stunts on his own, is just amazing. Of course, if you've seen any trailers or promotional items, you've probably seen him hanging off the side of a plane. You've probably seen some underwater sequences. I'm not going to say anything that spoils it or gives it away, but those scenes in particular, of course, very much stood out to me as just spectacular. They're stunning cinematography wise, and just what he's doing and actually really doing these stunts and it's not CGI work is just incredible. I mean, you can't give more props to a person than really doing these these stunts themselves and bringing this action to the big screen for all of us to enjoy as audiences and viewers. I think his commitment to film and his love for cinema and entertaining people through film is just unmatched. Tom Cruise is truly, I mean, he's truly one of the biggest movie stars of this time. So it's incredible to be able to see Ethan Hunt's story probably come to a close because, as it's called, the final reckoning. I mean, we can only assume, and through interviews that he's done, that this indeed is Ethan Hunt's last mission. So, yes, the stunts in this film, absolutely incredible, and the action in this film had me on the edge of my seat. I was so anxious for a good chunk of this movie. And surprisingly enough, I was also very emotional throughout this movie. There was a few points throughout the entire film where I was almost on the verge of tears, and I was like, why am I crying in a Mission Impossible movie? But they had some really heartfelt moments between some of these characters, which was great. And speaking of characters, I want to talk a bit about the ensemble cast because I think they work so incredibly well together in this film. Of course, we have Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, and then we also have Haley Atwell, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Angela Bassett, Hannah Waddingham, Asai Morales, Palm Clementif, Henry Czerny, Nick Offerman, Janet McTeer, Tremel Tillman. This entire cast works so well together to not only pay homage to Ethan Hunt's character, but also to bring in little Easter eggs to all of the fans of the entire franchise. So I really loved the way they brought this story to life all together. They all played such a great part in it. Tremel Tillman specifically, I have to point out, was a big scene stealer for me when I was watching the film. I feel like anytime he's on my screen in any film that I've seen him in or TV show, he makes me smile double what I was already smiling. He just has such a light about him, and his comedy and his lightheartedness is so amazing, and his character in this film was no exception. So I really loved watching any scene with Tremel in it specifically. But yes, this entire cast works so well together. They were so seamless, which of course was great to see. I will say for me, the one reason I did give it 4 to 5 stars instead of 5 out of 5 is because some of the scenes, some of the points in some of the scenes felt a little too outrageous for me. Now, listen, I know it is Mission Impossible. I know these missions are supposed to be impossible. Only Ethan Hunt himself is accomplishing these magnificent feats. But sometimes it just dipped into the outrageousness for me. I think it was too far-fetched a few aspects. Not like specific scenes in whole, just a few aspects of some of the missions were a little too far-fetched in that aspect for me, which is where it just lost me slightly as I was watching it, but didn't take away from the fact that I loved this film overall. I'm seeing it again. I can't wait to see it again. I think this is an amazing film for everyone, for anyone who's a movie lover to go see in the theaters. Of course, if you're a fan of the franchise, I thought this was a great ending to it. So I'm nonetheless very excited for this to be in theaters all summer long, for everyone to enjoy Tom Cruise and Ethan Hunt and the entire MI team on screen. So you can go see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning in theaters this week for everyone in North America. It's already in theaters in Australia.
Well, moving away from Mission Impossible, one and the latest, what is your song of the week, Nicole? Even though I already have a feeling what it's going to be.
Ooh, I think I know what your feeling is, and I'm going to throw you off.
Ooh.
Well, maybe not too much because I'm still going to stay in the country realms. I think my song of the week would have to be again, as we sometimes say, we're listening to our Spotify's on shuffle. I was letting my Spotify dictate some of my listening this week. And you know what? They were giving me some great Darius Rucker.
Oh,
I love. Again, grew up
are we
on,
talking like wagon wheel or are we talking like real deep cut?
I'm talking like Beers and Sunshine and
Oh,
the
good song.
song All Right. Also
Ooh.
another great one. Oh, so those would be my songs of the week, but I'm assuming you thought my song of the week was going to be the new Morgan Wallen album,
I
which
was gonna say the Morgan Wallen album, or more specifically, is his song with Tate McRae.
I'm sad to report, not the biggest fan of this new album overall. I think his other two albums are better. I liked better. I will, I see a lot of people on the internet saying like his music has matured as he's gotten older, which I could agree with, but a lot of this album is definitely more heartbreaky feels, and a lot of them are slower songs, and I just wasn't I wasn't vibing with. I mean, obviously, this album's like almost 2 hours long, so there's a lot of songs. It's just short of 40 songs. So there's quite a few that it did still like, and of course, I love a lot of the singles that he has previously released over the last year and a bit. But those are just might be, I already love them going into it. So there was a few songs, but I will say that Dangerous and One Thing at a Time I do enjoy better than I am this one. Maybe it'll grow on me. We'll see.
Yeah, Dangerous hits.
It does. It does.
Mhm.
What was your song of the week?
Okay, I got two. I'm keeping it Canadian, and I giggle because I've brought up this man so many times in the last few weeks. But Boom by Baby No Money has literally been on repeat for me. I don't know what it is about this man, but every song he makes is just like it gets me through the day. When I'm at work and I'm putting my AirPods, it's literally a Baby No Money playlist.
You're just at Old Navy chilling, doing inventory, and baby,
It's
nobody's just
6 a.m. in
blasting.
the morning and he's blasting, yeah. Um, anyway, so that one, but also one that I've been long awaiting is the new album Funny Little Fears from Damiano David, who I have also mentioned before, but he has such a good voice, and I think his lyricism is also very smart in a way that it's heartbreaking, but it's also like very truthful. So I love the way he mixes it with being that honest, but also still keeping it upbeat and not too slow. But yeah, I love him. I love this album. I think it's so good. He's so talented, and he's coming to Toronto in December, so we'll see.
That's where you'll find Gracie. If you can't find her, she's probably in a mosh pit somewhere at the concert.
Literally, I'm about to be moshing to sad songs.
That's how you have to do it.
Real, is there any other way to do every other mosh pit is wrong?
Well, those are our watches and listens of the week. So let's move into our final segment of the show. As always, our upcoming releases. Starting over on Netflix today, May 22nd, we have Sirens.
Also on Netflix, we have Tyler Perry's She the People.
Then moving into theaters on May 23rd, as I've already said, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is in theaters.
Also on May 23rd in theaters, we have Lilo and Stitch, the live action adaptation. I'm so excited for this.
Are obsessed with the popcorn buckets and all of the merchandise and like the popcorn bucket that he popped out of or like the one holding a pineapple. Oh my goodness, I love it. But also staying in theaters, we have Friendship starring Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson.
On Apple TV Plus, we have Fountain of Youth.
Also over on Netflix on the 23rd, we have Fear Street Prom Queen.
We also have Big Mouth season 8 on Netflix, and I believe this is the final season too.
It is.
May 25th, we have Rick and Morty season 8 on Adult Swim. I've had the chance to see the first episode. I'm excited for the rest of the season. I can't say anything else.
Got a double thumbs up. And closing us out today on May 28th, we have F1 The Academy over on Netflix. Who would have guessed? Well, that is all we have for you today in the world of entertainment news in film, music, and TV. So we will be back at the same time next week to share more of the same stuff. So we will see you then. Until then, I'm Nicole.
I'm Gracie, and you can watch us wherever you get your podcasts on Spotify and YouTube.
See you next week. Bye.